Speaking of death, I present to you the Tanatorio, mysterious new building that appeared next to the cemetery over the past few years. No one had told me about it. I just saw this brick building with this utilitarian columns at the front. Tanatorio Moral de Calatrava. Just there. Personal note first, with apologies. I've never been to a funeral in Spain. I have in Britain. That was a culture shock. Twice. It was a pub. There'd be drink, there'd be food, there'd be speeches at the chapel like you see in the movies, regardless of denomination, and but it didn't feel like a party. It was like a celebration of the deceased. But back to this, the reason why I've never been to one here is time. People in Spain are buried within 48 hours. That's the law. I learned that the hard way the first time somebody died. I wasn't expected to come. 2 hours away by plane. And indeed I looked it up and I realized that realistically I had 12 hours, maybe 24 to get there. Should have told me the very second. Oh God, I don't think they would have had time to think about that. So the logistics failed and I just didn't like that feeling. There are 3 or 4 people in the Pueblo I would have wanted to say goodbye to properly, and it hasn't happened. Don't want it to happen now. Sorry. No, not easy. Let me tell you about the tanatorio and the velatorio. In Spain, the wake isn't about catering, it's about presence. About not leaving the bereaved alone. The tanatorio is that place. Velatorio comes from velar. Velar is to look after and also to watch over. What I've understood about the velatorio, in the old days, in a pueblo, the coffin would be set either in the church or in the family home, sometimes open, sometimes closed, and people would come in a steady flow to pay their respect. You arrive, you greet the family, drop some food, and you say the standard phrases. Mi más sentido pésame, te acompaño en el sentimiento. These are set pieces that do the job when you have no words of your own. If you know the person, maybe possibly I would add something true, something personal. But again, no speeches. Just set phrases like encantada to hold you up when you cannot. Then there is the Pueblo side. People don't arrive empty-handed. It's not a party. It's not festive. But the family are not able to do things, so the community does it for them. They bring food, someone looks after the children, someone drives someone somewhere, somebody sits there for an hour so the closest relatives can breathe or cry or leave the room. The point is accompaniment. The social instinct of the village kicking in at the exact moment when the house becomes too heavy to carry alone. So the tanatorio. This nondescript brick building with the word printed on the outside, tanatorio, as if naming it makes it easier to approach, because it comes from thanatos, Greek word for death. So it sounds official sounded, it sounds clinical, like sanatorio where people go to get cured. It's one of those little details, Spanish teacher here, that quietly explains a lot about the Spanish language. Arabic is everywhere in the Arabic is everywhere in the objects of daily life, but when Spanish wants a neutral, technical, institutional word, medicine, administration, science, it reaches for Latin and Greek roots. Even here in La Mancha Pueblo, death ends up labelled in Greek. The building itself is orderly, organised and placed right beside the cemetery, like a practical corridor between life and whatever comes next. It offers wake rooms, the option to go in or not go in, to see the person or not, to sit with the family or simply give your presence. briefly and leave. There are vending machines, I suppose, and nearby a cafe for coffee. People need to stay awake because they open for 24 hours when there is a wake. You're there 24 hours. Well, for a window of 48, makes sense. So they might need a small excuse to step outside. What strikes me, because maybe I'm still very frightened of death in a very private way, except today, is how social people can be around it here. Like, remember yesterday at the cemetery, there is conversation, there is practical tenderness, a way of being together that doesn't feel hysterical. It doesn't mean they're indifferent, it just suggests a different relationship with death. Less hidden, less taboo, less managed way. In the pueblo, life is public. Errands are public, illness is public, gossip is public, the weather is public. So death, too, becomes something that is carried quietly, respectfully, by more than one pair of hands. Only tonight I came across a sign on the main square for the funeral mass of someone to take place tomorrow, followed by the burial. I don't think it's right that I should attend, and I'll probably have to work. That, to me, is what the tanatorio represents. Not a celebration, not a performance, a whole network of support. So next time you feel they're gossiping about you in the pueblo, think about moments like this.